Good afternoon and welcome to the Coaches Show, the final edition of the regular season Coaches Show. I'm Jonathan Aiken, joined by Coach Templin. Coach, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
We are coming off a very frustrating game against Jordanton, but we are ready to right the ship as we go on the road and we take a little trip down to Strawberryville and play against the Poteet Aggies. It'll be our final game of the season before playoffs start. Playoffs are guaranteed. We just got to figure out where, when, who, what, first, second, third. There's a lot of things that can happen. In fact, there's so many things that can happen. We can't even talk about them all on the Coaches Show. But what we can talk about is a little bit about last week, very little bit, and a lot about this upcoming game on Friday. Coach, I know you're frustrated. I could see it on your face when I walked up, and I thought, is it me? But I know it was the game. You told me it was. It was right there. It was right there, Coach. I mean, you could see it. You were on the ladder. You're grabbing the apple off the tree, and somebody swipes the legs out. Explain maybe just a little bit. Take us inside. Just to start off, I would say it was definitely the worst start you guys have had in the 3 years that I've watched. It's been a long time since you guys just had such a rough start and to fight so hard to get almost all the way back and then to just come up a tiny bit short. I had imagined there must have been a range of emotions for the whole night.
Yeah, well, I mean, I told the guys at halftime, I got bad news and I got good news. And the bad news is the last 3 quarters of football I've watched are the worst I've ever seen in my life, between the first 2 of Jordanton and the last quarter of Crystal. So the good news is we still have 24 minutes to go play football, and they've scored 20 in the first half, and we can go match it and even do better in the second half. And really just challenge them to go play Hondo football in the second half, and they did, and they fought like you said. But when you get into a hole like that against a good team, it's difficult to totally climb out of it. We got just to where you could just barely see over the edge of that hole, and then couldn't quite get there. Proud of them for the fight that they showed in the second half. But hopefully we've learned some lessons on playing a full 4 quarters from the first kickoff to the very end. And if you're going to learn them, I guess it's better to learn them now than to learn them in the playoffs, because then you're going home. It's certainly heartbreaking, no doubt about it. We talked about this week, failure not being fatal. We talked about, the old Michael Jordan. He's missed, 9,000 shots, lost 300 games, 26 times he's missed the game-winning shot. And,
right.
He said, I've failed over and over again, and that's why I succeed. And, we came up short on Friday, and we can take one of two things. We can duck our tail between our legs, or we can come out fighting for the next 7 weeks of football. I think the team responded very well this week, and I think you're going to see it tomorrow night, and I think you're going to see it on into the playoffs. And we just got to make sure that we keep the identity that is who we have been all season long, and not turn into a different team.
Right.
And that's kind of what we saw the last 3 quarters of football.
Yeah, I've heard it said, and if you were completely afraid of the taste of failure, then you are never going to enjoy the taste of success, because nobody's perfect. So you have to fall sometimes to get back up. And we're talking about 2 games that we've lost this year by a total of 3 points.
Right.
We're not talking about, one play here or there in both games, and we're looking at an undefeated season. So it's not like this season is lost by any means. Coach, take us back. I felt like the turning point in the game, and there was a lot of them. There were a lot of things that were up and down, but boy, to get that game to a 1 score in the third quarter and then to immediately give up a kick return, it felt like I got punched in the gut, and I was not even on the sideline. So it just felt like the energy that you guys had worked so hard in the third quarter to build back up in the crowd. It just felt like everybody just at the same time was like, oh, no, we were right there. How do you keep the team? Because I know how my highs and lows feel, and I'm older, but how do you try to keep the team even keel when you start off like so? Just it felt like everything was against us in the beginning, and then you're working your way back up. But I'm guessing you don't want the team to get too high because you got to keep them focused, right? Mm-hmm. And then to go back down again and then try to get them back up, that's got to be tough. I'm guessing you might lose a little sleep at night sometimes. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Are you making a comment on the bags under my eyes right now, or what? So yeah, I mean, kind of going back to how you started there. The biggest thing is you never know what play is going to make the difference in the game, right? And we always talk about the most important play being the next one, and so on and so forth. But when you play 170, 180 plays, you don't know if it's play one, if it's play 180, if it's play 74. Like, you never have any idea, and you can't let your guard down. And so again, lesson hopefully learned there. And our special teams has been really, really good all season.
I agree.
So that was unfortunate in that case, but it's really, again, just going back to playing the next play, and we can only control what we can control in the moment. And if you allow one bad play to affect the next play, it's going to snowball, and really vice versa. And that's something I think we need to do a little bit better job of, is not allowing a good play to affect the next play as well. You get a little too high, and then all of a sudden, the word maybe cocky or whatever, right? And then you're going to have a bad play on the next one.
Or focus, or whatever it might be, right? Because you can do a big play, and then you're like, hey, we're about to score. But if you're not thinking about all the things you're supposed to do, that score might not happen, right? Mm-hmm. Coach, take us back to the end of the game, and what goes into the decision on whether you're going for two or one? Is it analytics? Is it? And I'm not saying there were anything wrong was done. I'm just, how do you know? I mean,
so
when you're in that weird number of 15 or 8, or you're trying to say, I want to make it a 1 score, I want to make it a 2 score. I know you got to look at the clock, and you got to look at how many timeouts you have. But if you're trying to decide to go for 1 or 2, is it the defense that's set, or is it the momentum you've got? What is it exactly?
There's obviously a lot of different factors into it. So there's multiple charts out there. There's the one from the beginning of time that's basically just kind of based off the situation only. There's analytics that's based off your offense versus their defense, and vice versa, and your kicking game, and so on. And those are things that we submit and get a chart back. But ultimately, that all comes down to, you still gotta make the decision, right? One of my favorite movies is Maverick, right? And he says, it all comes down to the pilot in the box. So ultimately, I still have to make that decision. So things like momentum kind of come into play there. Like, if we've got the momentum, let's go and continue going with that and things. And you can go back and forth and back and forth.
You can, and people who question, I was like, hey, you're not the one that was down there. You're the hero if it works, and you're the zero if it doesn't, right? And but to be in that position, some people crave it, and
there's been time you have to.
You've been in so many tight games that there's been a lot of times this year where you've had to make those decisions.
Right. And that's kind of what I was going to say. If you look at our identity and whatnot, right, we've gone for it on 4th down a bunch.
Correct.
And we've gotten it a bunch, and we haven't gotten it a few times, too. Our 4th down percentage is actually better than our 3rd down percentage.
That's crazy to think.
Yeah. And so, we've gone for it on 4th and not gotten it, and it's really hurt us, obviously. We've went for it on a 2-point, which is like a 4th down, right, and didn't get it. We've gone for it before and got it. Our identity is really just when I say identity, really trusting the kids to go and execute, and sometimes it doesn't work. But I believe that doing things like that really shows the confidence that we have in them, and then gives them confidence as well. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but more often than not, it has.
It has a lot this year. Let's take a second just to thank our sponsors, and let's jump on something else real quick. I want to thank Medina Electric Co-op, Z's Kitchen, State Farm and Cameron Garcia, Medina Healthcare, Hermanson Steakhouse, Hondo Inver Herald, C&W Fuels, and Texan Bank. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring the Coaches Show and the game, so we're able to bring them to everybody across Medina County and across the United States and wherever you might be. We've had people on cruise ships listening to the game this year. We've had people in Europe, all across the United States. I've had former Owls who are in the military stationed all over the place who's like, we're listening to the game. Thanks so much for showing it to us. So we want to thank everybody who participates and listens and watches. We appreciate it because the Owls love your support. And, of course, we love a full house, but if you can't make it, we want you to tune in. Coach, We still have a district championship as a possibility. A co-district championship is a possibility. Um, but
Tri-district championship. I
a
mean, there's a
tri-district
lot of
championship.
things.
That's right. There could be three teams that are all tied,
Hmm.
which currently is the case right now. Right.
Correct.
So we
Yes.
have three teams. We're tied with Jordanton. We're tied with Crystal City. There are so many different scenarios dependent on the outcome of these games this week. All we can control is Poteet. So
Correct.
that's what we're going to do. We're going to drive down to Poteet, and we're going to try to hand them a loss, come away with the win, and then no matter what, we're guaranteed at least a share of a district championship. Right? Am I right?
As long as
If we win,
you said like if we take care of our
if we take
business
care of
this
our
week, then
business
yes,
and we get a
correct.
W,
Correct.
which is all we can control,
Hmm.
we at least at worst will have a
World
share, either a double, a part, a half, a third, maybe the whole thing. We don't know. There's a lot of things that need to happen. But first, let's take care of business. So we've got Poteet. We're going into Poteet. They've had a couple surprise wins that they've got on their record. They're trying to still make the playoffs too, I believe.
Yes.
I think if they get a win, they
guarantee themselves in the
guarantee.
play.
So they're playing hard. You know they're going to come with everything they got.
Hmm.
What do we expect to see from Poteet?
Well, like you said, everything they got right. Like if they don't win, then their fate is no longer in their hands, and they need to rely on some losses within the district. So if they know if they can beat us and beat us on their senior night, then they're in the playoffs. So it's going to mean a whole lot to them. And they've struggled with some injuries and things the last few weeks. Really, the first part of district, and they've gotten a lot of those guys back. They've played a lot of tight games, especially like up until at least like halftime, and then they haven't just quite finished it. Right. Like
Right.
you look at some scores at half throughout the district throughout the year, so they're very scary. They have a lot to play for, and you got to go play at their place on
Right.
senior night when they need to win to guarantee themselves to get in.
How hard is it, Coach, when you get yourself into? It's almost like getting into going into a cage with an animal that's cornered because there's anything is possible. I mean, they could do Hail Marys, they could do flea flickers, they could do trick plays. They could be working on some stuff that's way in the back of the playbook that they could pull out at any time because it's a win or nothing.
Hmm. Oh yeah, certainly, and they have shown that they're not scared to onside kick at any time. They have shown some rather unconventional punt formations and things. So you have no idea.
Yeah, anything in the back of the
Yeah,
playbook is
right,
game, right?
right.
I mean, it's kind of like when you're playing on your computer and you find yourself down, you can pull any play out, right? And that's exactly what we can expect to see from Poteet. What kind of defense do they run, Coach? Is it a 4-3 or?
It's really kind of a 4-2, 4-4 defense for the most part. They'll move into a 4-3 look, but you're going to see mostly a one high safety in corners, and then they're going to load the box up. They're going to have a 6-man box, 8-man front, and say come run it, see if you can. So it makes it kind of difficult to run the ball. It makes it a little bit difficult on some of our passing game as well. So we really got to be on our reads, and we're going to rely big time on our O-line to go move some people around and push some people around. They have done a great job of that throughout the season, and we're going to rely on them to do that as well on Friday night.
What about their offense, Coach? Are we looking at a spread? What if you were going to compare them to a team that maybe we've played this season? Anybody that comes to mind, or are they kind of pretty unique?
Probably, man, let's go back a little ways. Probably similar to maybe a Lytle. A lot of two back. They will go a decent amount of one back as well. They're one of the higher passing teams that we faced this year.
Okay.
They're sitting at about 60% throwing the ball. So we got to be careful for that. A lot of quick game and things. Just trying to it's basically getting the same thing you would get out of your old school toss. Let's toss it out there and see if we can get on the same thing. If I can just throw a quick hitch or something along those lines, or throw a little swing route or something, you're getting the same type thing out of it. So we've got to be really good with playing tight coverage as well as stopping the run.
Okay, so all we know right now is we get the dub, and we're guaranteed at worst a share of district championship. Correct?
Yes.
What else can we maybe share with our viewers? We know we have a playoff game. Can we say that we know it's either Thursday, Friday, Saturday for sure? One of those 3 days, or?
So one thing I've learned in doing this right is there's never a guarantee.
Right.
But it sure seems like we will almost certainly play on Thursday.
Okay.
Now, what could change in that? Basically, if one of the venues ends up dropping us for some reason. So
So when it comes to the playoffs, Coach, like we've got our schedule for the next 2 or 3 years already set for regular season.
No, well, now we don't. We normally do 2 years, right? But this is a realignment year, so now next year it's kind of
So when okay, let's talk about realignment.
Okay.
When do we know
Great question.
realignment? Do we know if we're staying 3A? Do we know if we're moving? Do we know if someone else in our district is moving? When is that stuff going to be finalized?
So
Supposedly.
Tomorrow is the final day to turn in enrollment numbers. Last Friday was the snapshot. I think we talked about that last week. So last Friday is when they cut it off. You have to say, all right, this was how many people were enrolled in the high school. So by tomorrow, it has to be submitted.
And so for everybody in the state of Texas had till tomorrow to do it.
Till tomorrow at the latest to do it. Some people did it last Friday. Some people did it Monday, Tuesday, whatever.
So there's schools across Texas that have just suspended like 50 kids. Is what you're saying?
It's not quite that easy. They have to actually not be enrolled in school.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, no. We should know the numbers on the cutoffs by early December. So they'll say, okay, this is what 3A is going to be. This is what Division 1, Division 2, so on and so forth. And then in February, I believe it's the first week of February, they will come out with the actual districts.
And now when the redistricting is done, this is a set for 2-3 years? 2 years. So once district has been reset and you know these are the teams in our district and this is what our classification is, that's when you'll get to work to try to make a schedule for the next 2 years, correct?
Yes. So, the way that thing goes, right? So they'll show those numbers in December of what the cutoffs are, and then you let the speculation begin, right? So
because then you don't know who's in your district.
Right. It's just you start looking at like geographically, okay, who could be in our district, who whatever, and sometimes you're pretty close to being on it, sometimes you're way off, and then in February there's a big meeting. And they have packets that at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., something like that. They go, okay, go, and everybody like basically goes up and grabs a packet, and you open it up, and that's how you find out who your district is, and then let the mad scramble begin of, okay, this is what I thought it was going to be, or this is nothing what I thought it was going to be, and now I need to find a week 1, 2, 3, whatever, so on for non-district.
So for the non-district, can you kind of set that up already? Even because it doesn't matter if they're in your classification, we can play higher or up or down, right?
Yeah, certainly.
I mean, could you kind of just like give a coach a call and say, hey, we'd really like to play you maybe week 2. We'll do a home and home the next 2 years, unless you're like you got moved to 6A or I got something crazy. But
yeah, for sure.
Can you kind of set that up a little bit?
You kind of pencil them in, like, okay, hey, if I have an open whatever dates, do you do too? Yeah, okay. Would you agree to play? Sure. But then sometimes that may go awry because let's say we scheduled a week 5, for example. Okay, we've got that penciled in. Well, the UIL throws us in a 7-team district. Well, week 5 is now a district game.
Okay.
So now I got to go back and right. Or let's say we have our non-district schedule is Carrizo and Devine. Well, those used to be in our district. Well, we may find out they're in our district now again. I don't know.
Gotcha.
So now those have been pulled in our district. Well, that non-district game's out, so now I got to look to fill that.
So it's a lot more than you think. There's a lot of moving pieces.
Well, and once when December, when they show those numbers of what it should be, then or what it is, excuse me, then you could go, okay, I'm gonna lose this team. Let's pretend for a second that Divine were to drop to 3A. When that comes out in December, now I know, okay, well, I'm gonna have to look to replace that week because they're going to be 3A. I bet they're going to be in our district.
They're probably going to be in our district because they're close.
Yeah, so
okay.
You kind of do it that way.
Okay, so that's how making the schedule for the regular season works. Now take us to, we find out we're making the playoffs. We know we're going to play, but there's so many different scenarios. I don't know if you even know how many teams we could possibly play. If we end up 1, 2, or 3.
5. There's 5
There's 5 different possibilities, no matter if we win or if we end up second or we end up third based on point differential or whatever it might be. There's 5 different teams that we could play.
Correct.
So you've had to talk to every one of these coaches and say, hey, if you and us and I meet next week, then how about this day at this place? And then you have to get off the phone and immediately call. And do you just have like a dry erase board in the back somewhere that you're like with lines drawn different directions? Or?
I probably should do that. Now that you say
how are you going to remember all that? You've got to have it written down somewhere, right?
Yes, yes. It hasn't been too difficult this year, honestly. Like, really, I started, and Coach Villa has done a great job helping me out too because he knows absolutely everybody around here, right? So it started it about a week ago, and kind of the first thing you do is try to set up your venue because those get taken up really fast,
Okay.
especially with 5A and 6A. The first and second seed get home field advantage. So you look to go to San Antonio. Well,
Mhm.
hey, we're playing at our home place, right? So that's why oftentimes Fridays aren't available because that team made the playoffs and they want to play at their place. So lots of times you're going to look for like a Thursday game at Blah Stadium. So it's what stadium do you want to play at, or what could be between you and a possible opponent or close to it. So you kind of
Because you're trying to find something that doesn't require one team to travel maybe 2 or 3 times further than the other. Is that what you're doing?
ideally, yes. Do your best. It's not always possible. Sometimes, we may find a stadium that has agreed to host us. You talk to the team that you might play. They say, I don't want to play at that stadium. I want to play at this stadium that we have. Well, okay, we're both going to agree to, if we play one another, then we're going to have to flip for it. And now if I win, I get my stadium. If you win, you get your stadium, so on and so forth. Yeah. And so you set that up with 5 different schools.
Okay, so in the case of a coin flip, I'm guessing you're not driving yourself to San
No,
Antonio. I mean, is this a Zoom call coin flip? I mean,
that's an excellent question. So it's not an actual coin flip. We call it a coin flip, but it's not.
okay.
So here's what we do.
Because I want you to think about this for a second, Coach. I think if you guys could agree to a 2 out of 3 rock paper scissors and we could do it live on HABA, how awesome would that
That'd
be?
be
If we
good,
had
yeah.
you guys on split screen, and if Coach Templin wins, then we're playing here, and if Coach so and so wins, we're playing here. I mean, we could even get a sponsor
We
for
could get a
it.
sponsor
It could
for
be
it,
pretty
yeah.
awesome,
Yeah.
and we could even like have a poll: is Coach starting rock or is he going
Right.
to start paper?
Brought to you by
scissors.
brought to you by the Stone Yard.
There you go.
Yeah, stone paper scissors. Yeah. No, so how that works is if you, let's say, I don't really know how we decide who gets to pick it. We don't really care too much, but
Is it
you're
like
gonna
a? Is
you're
it
gonna
on the
pick
computer?
a
Okay.
you're gonna pick a city, right, in
Okay.
the state of Texas, and you're just gonna throw out the name of it, right, and you've already looked up to see what the zip code of it is, and then I have to call odd or even. So if the zip code ends in an odd number, then it's odd. If it ends in an even number, it's
But
even.
how couldn't you have your computer up right there and you're looking up?
So it has to be
Coach
it
Villa
has
is
to
like
be
right there going.
right. It has to be pretty much immediate. If it gets a little sketchy, we do it again.
Selena,
yeah.
Texas. I'm gonna go with. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. Odd.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I really haven't had an issue of it.
Okay.
If it
I
takes
just
it
wondered
too
how
long,
that
but it
works.
could. Yeah.
Okay, so that's good to know. So we know that it's one of 5 teams.
Mhm.
We know that it's probably maybe leaning towards a Thursday,
Yes.
and we know that it's a handful of venues in the area. That's pretty much where we can
I will say the venues are either east or north of us.
east or north. We
Yeah.
are not going west. We're not going south. Supposedly, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's south, maybe it's south, east-ish, but not bad.
So we're either going to go north, east, or we're going to find out that Coach does not know his directions. One of those.
That's highly possible too. Yeah.
All right, Coach. Thanks so much today. You've given us a lot of information. I was very interested to hear about the realignment and how that's going to work. Unfortunately, I wish we could give some answers to that during the season, but it sounds like that's something that's going to happen maybe closer to. You said maybe December.
Yes. December will be the numbers for the cutoff, and then February they'll tell us what district.
February. All right. Well, I'm sure that'll be in the paper. We'll find out as soon as possible, and then we have to wait till summer, I guess, because it's going to take a few months to get everything set up before we get to see a schedule for next year, right?
No. I mean, it should be. We'll have it set up by March.
All right. Awesome. And just to let you know, this is not the last Coaches Show. This is the last regular season Coaches Show. Next week, we'll do a special playoff edition of the Coaches Show. We haven't decided what day that's going to be, but obviously if the game is on Thursday, it's not going to be a Thursday Coaches Show. So we're probably looking maybe Monday, Tuesday, and I think we have some other stuff going too next week. I know Veterans Day is Tuesday. I know band is going to state on Wednesday. So we encourage you to. How cool is that? We get to go back to back again, just like we did last week. So Wednesday we're going to talk about supporting the band and going out to the Alamo Dome and hoping to watch the Mob clinch state. And then Thursday, after we celebrate with them and their achievements, then Thursday there's a good chance we're going traveling somewhere north or somewhere east to one of 5 places, and we're going to go see one of 5 teams, and we're going to try to get started in the playoffs and make a run ourselves. So lots to be excited about for this next week. Coach, thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing all that information. We really appreciate it. Want to thank our sponsors one more time: Medina Electric Co-op, Z's Kitchen, State Farm and Cameron Garcia, Medina Healthcare, Hermanson Steakhouse, Hondo Amber Herald, C&W Fuels, and Texan Bank. There is a lot to play for this week, guys. So if you can make the trip to Poteet, Texas, this is our seniors' last regular season game. Not only that, but I'm sure they would love to get a little piece of the district championship. Poteet wants to make the playoffs, so you know they're going to bring it. It's going to be a big game. It is not going to be a cakewalk. We need to go in and we need to pin our ears back. There's a lot of pent up, I don't want to say it's anger, but it might be a little bit of they want to get that bad taste out of their mouth after the Indians came in this last week. So let's get that victory. Those 2 teams have to play too, Jourdington and Crystal City. There's a lot of things that could happen, and we'll try to talk about it during the game. We'll keep all the scores up, and we'll try to paint that picture for you the best we can as the game goes on in Poteet. If you can't make the trip down to Poteet, Kobe and I will bring you all the action on the HABA website, or I guess it's through the YouTube channel, and we encourage you to watch. But if you can make the trip, that's the best way to do it. It's going to be a great afternoon. I believe the weather's supposed to be really, really good. So come on down to Poteet, grab yourself a strawberry milkshake, some strawberry ice cream, some strawberry whatever, because that's the best place to get strawberries, and then let's watch the Owls get the victory. Again, thanks Coach Templin, James Estes behind the scenes. I'm Jonathan Aiken. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, the Owls playing the Poteet Aggies Friday, 7 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Correct? Friday at 7. So join us tomorrow in Poteet. If you can't make it, tune in and let's watch the Owls clinch a piece of the district championship. Thanks again. Have a good night.